And we're live here with Margie Solomon. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Excellent. And I was just saying that I love the background where you're at right now. It looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Very,
you.
very lively. So I will tell our audience a little bit about you, and then I have a few questions for you.
Fantastic. Ready to rock.
Awesome. The word nonlinear is the best way to describe Margie's interest and career. The different phases of her career can fit into vaguely three buckets. First one being business development, so sales, marketing, promotions. The second one is small business consulting around diversity, supplier diversity. And the third one is being an entrepreneur. She's a former business owner. She worked in several verticals such as aviation, travel and tourism, automotive, advertising, media, and retail. And she lived a corporate life in enterprise sales in 2009 to pursue her passion, which is the economic development of women-owned businesses. She's involved with Creatives on Call since November of last year. And having worked in and owned a small business herself allowed her to bring in a lot of innovation and creativity and enthusiasm to all the projects she's involved in. So again, a big welcome to Margie.
Right. Thanks. Good to be here.
Awesome. So I do have a few questions for you. The first one being, you really came across as being very passionate about development of women's businesses, women-owned businesses. So I was wondering, where does that passion come from?
Well, when I was thinking about that earlier, I started to talk about my mother and the women in my family who were all college graduates and professional women, and I thought this was great. And then I was on Facebook earlier, and I noticed that it's Cher's birthday today. And my very first job out of college was as a record promoter for a record label, and Cher was on that record label. And we happened to be at together in the elevator at an event that she was doing, that we were doing with her. And she basically kicked out all the men who were there with the record label that I worked for, and spent about 20 minutes with me talking about how she thought it was great that I was in that business. And this was back in the day when there were no women, really. There were very few of us in promotions. And I think she really started me on that path to give back.
That's a really interesting story. Well, look at you. I also wanted to know, what a typical day looks like right now. You've had a lot of different experiences, different environments, but nowadays, what are you up to?
Well, I'm still in B2B sales, basically, in business development. I just now do it for a woman-owned business. And Creatives on Call is 100% owned, operated, controlled by a woman. It's been around for 21 years. So I call on the Fortune 1000 corporations that are in supplier diversity. So they basically all have supplier diversity programs and understand the business case for having a diverse supply chain. So my day really isn't much different than it was back when I was doing sales for doing sales. So just talking to a little bit different audience and a different channel.
I see. Okay, so and I'm guessing your days are still pretty busy.
They're very busy. I start. I am very structured with my day. I start early in the morning with emails and social media. That's also the time that I spend, because I do a little bit of marketing. I write blogs and that sort of thing. So I spend that time writing and coming up with new and unusual emails to get buyers' attention.
Okay. I also wanted to know, which insights you sort of carried away with you from the corporate world into the world of startups that you're involved in?
I think a lot of what I took from that was the ability to be strategic about my sales calls, devise a plan, follow through with that plan, and be pleasantly persistent. In all of my conversations, and really understand the audience that I'm calling on. I do probably more research than most. I noticed that this generation of salespeople do very little research, and it's so much easier to do now. And you can take really a lot deeper dives into that research. So
that sounds like a good skill to have, and understand more.
Right. Well, it's helpful because when you are doing enterprise sales and B2B sales, you really must understand what you can do for others. And one of the things that I always go by is the rule, so to speak, that when you're speaking to someone else, the only thing on their mind is what's in it for me. So it's always the what's in it for me rule. And if I can understand what I can help them solve for, or what I can do for them, then I'm much closer to being able to make a sale.
Absolutely. Who would you say some of your inspiration was in terms of other sales geniuses, people that inspired you, you learned from?
One of my bosses at Avis Rent-A-Car, which is where I worked for about 12 years, was probably the best salesperson I've ever known. But one of the things about that company was that we had some fabulous training and sales training, and I went through Miller Hyman training. I can't even tell you how many times, because we had to go through training at least once a year or twice a year. But huge Zig Ziglar fan. And then way back in the day, did a lot with Dale Carnegie, and books that I've read, The Little Red Book of Sales, Og Mandino, some chestnuts, I guess. And everybody has a new way of talking about it, but I sometimes think that those guys are the guys that really kind of put it all together, and Dale Carnegie especially.
And the last question I have for you is, what kind of advice would you give to other people in sales that maybe are not as advanced as you are? Any advice, any insights?
Well, do your homework, and make relationships with people, because people will buy from people they like first. So if someone likes you, and that's kind of goes back to Dale Carnegie and even Zig Ziglar. It all comes back to people buy from people who they like. If you're not a nuisance and you're strategic, and you are sharing with them what you can do for them, they'll like you even more. And if you really truly understand what's going on with their company, in B2B, whether it's a large company or whether it's a small company, because I can take our product, with Creatives on Call, and go into a small woman-owned business and say, oh, by the way, we can help you as well. We can save you money. We can find creatives for you that can help you. So it's really all about knowing your audience, being able to have a relationship, and to be pleasantly persistent. Don't drive people crazy, and know when to back off. If there's nothing you can do right then just ask permission to say, oh, can I keep in touch with you for every quarter or every month? and send information. Send them things that are good for them, not for you.
Right, keep giving them value. And I'm curious about what you really mean by, for you to expand a little bit on the pleasantly persistent.
Persistent. I have known people. There was a company that you know, back in the days when I was in car rental, that one of the reps just turned over to me. He'd been around for a long time, and I had taken over a larger territory. And he said, "Oh, you know, go ahead and call on them because, you know, they're never going to do business with us." Right? So I started a call. You know, I just went to see them. You know, and I can remember even our VP of sales was like, "Why are you wasting your time? You're never going to do business with us." So I, you know, I would go in and I would get a little more incremental bits of business over the years. And then one day I was there and, you know, I just go in, hang out, talk, find out what was going on, being pleasant, you know, making the relationship more, not bugging them. I didn't, you know, call them all every month or anything like that. I'd go in every quarter, every 6 months. And I said, they were having some issues with car rental. So I said, you know, I might be able to help you with that. So I went back, I pulled together a program, being strategic, came back and said, I could probably save you about $38,000 a year on this project, and I can get you the service that you're looking for. They loved it. They signed off on it, increased my business. I didn't get all of it, but you know, some. Then the next year they bought another company. They went out to bid for their car rental, which was, I was getting, when I first started, I was getting about $25,000 a year. When I signed that contract, I was getting about $100,000 a year. When they went out to bid, the entire contract was $1.6 million, which I won.
Oh, wow.
Now that took 4 years.
Totally worth it.
And I was pleasantly persistent.
Okay, I see more what you mean by that. And if you do that strategy over a few businesses or many businesses, then it grows your pipeline and your results. Correct.
So it wasn't just one.
Right.
And at the same time, it was funny. I had picked up another account, which from another rep, and he said the same thing. Oh, we'll never get this. And we actually ended up in about the same year getting that business too, and that was 1.2 million.
I think those insights are quite valuable. I'm pretty much out of questions. Did you have anything else to add, or was that good like that?
Did I answer them too fast?
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
No, actually, I want to keep these interviews fairly short because, you know, for myself and a lot of busy people that I know, you know, we don't really want to spend an hour on a webinar or a video. So I try to cram it into, you know, less time.
Well, I just want to say thank you for, you know, asking me to do this. It's kind of fun, and you know, when you've been around a long time, a lot of people don't come back to you and ask you to talk about, you know, to give advice, and I'm always happy to do that.
And you did very well, and I thank you so much for taking the time to do this and, you know, to talk before setting this up. And I'll be sure to keep in touch with you and let you know when this is on.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A bientôt. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Ciao.